Go. We are live. Ayo to whoever is here. Yeah, but maybe nobody. Yeah, welcome to the second stream of Melting Dreams. Second podcast. Wait. There is ever so slight issues. Wait, is that better? No, it is not. Why is audio not being picked up? For fuck's sakes! There we go. It's fixed.
Classic technical difficulty.
Yeah, I'm sorry. First time me streaming, me setting it up. Also, Discord. Why are you not showing? What the fuck, boys? I hate technical difficulties for streams, dude. Why it be like that? Why can things not
I
just
think
work?
it's literally every time you try to make a presentation or try to demo something or anything like that, it just automatically happens. It's like if one thing can go wrong with it, it will.
So Johan, the audio is working on the stream if that's what you're wondering about.
Yeah, I know I fixed the audio, but now things are doing really weird stuff. So I'm just going to remove this and just re-add Discord because I want Discord and people to be able to see who's talking.
Oh lord.
Yeah. Audio problems. Why is there problems always? Why is this not open? Fucking work.
I was gonna ask Johan if swearing was like a thing that we weren't allowed to do, but then like from the first minute of him speaking, I knew that I didn't need to ask that question.
We're grown-ass
There we
people.
go. Okay.
I know, but I don't know how like censorship on Twitch works. And
No, well we're currently streaming it live on YouTube. And there we go. Now this is how the stream should have looked to start. I apologize to everybody. Technical fucking issues. Okay. Well, we're live.
There we go. Oh, okay. So I think I'm now with you because I'm watching the stream as well. Yeah. That looks cool.
Okay.
Sweet.
Awesome. So we ended the last podcast on a really light note, talking about philosophy and the ideas behind it.
Yeah, okay. I was just making sure our audio, me and Keelan's and Christian, are you still there? Our audio is coming through, and it seems that it is actually. It just sounds a little bit low.
1, 2, 3. Mine is probably really soft because my mic is like just soft, you know.
Yeah.
Bring it a little bit closer to your face, dude. How about that?
It's like in my mouth. I don't know how much more I can make it. Did it make any difference?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
it
it
did.
sounds a little bit better now.
I've also slightly increased the volume on the stream just to make it a bit better.
Oh, there we go.
What philosophies were you discussing?
Okay, well, I actually have a philosophy to discuss. Today, I read this one. If you don't mind me reading it on stream,
Go for it.
It's a really good one to me, and it goes like this: At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, "I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of? If I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into this world to do, or is this what I was created for? To huddle under the blankets and stay warm? But it's nicer here. So you were born to feel nice instead of doing things and experiencing them. Don't you see the plants, the birds, the ants, the spiders, the bees going through their individual tasks, putting the world into order as they best as best they can? And you're not willing to do your job as a human being. Why aren't you running to do what nature demands? But we have to sleep sometimes. Agreed. But nature sets a limit on that, as it did on eating and drinking. And you're out and you're over the limit. You've had more than enough of that, but not of working. There you're still below your quota. You don't love yourself enough, or you'd love your nature to, and what it demands of you. People who love what they do wear themselves down doing it. They even forget to wash or eat. Do you have less respect for your own nature than that engraver does for engraving? The dancer for the dance, the miser for the money, or the social climber for the status? When they're really possessed by what they do, they'd rather stop eating and sleeping than give up practicing their arts. Is helping others less valuable to you? Not worth your effort?
Man, man. There's
Mm.
so much in that.
Talking about comfort zones.
Yeah,
It
dude.
really
Quite
is.
pricey.
Dude, I've also been sitting recently and thinking about comfort zones, dude. The moment there's a big issue with getting too comfortable with where you are. People get to the point where they're so happy or content with where they are in life that they stop trying to improve. They stop aiming high. They stop aiming for new things,
Mm.
and that's such a nice way of saying it.
And
You know what I
practically any
believe is the
part of your
best
life.
way to actually overcome that need in us to become comfortable? And it's something that I didn't come up with, but it's a practice that has been in practice for a very long time, and it's showering cold in the mornings, dude. Even
I
though you have hot water, everything, and dude, I'm literally screaming like from the pain, dude. And before you do it, your entire body, you have like this visceral reaction that tells you, don't get into that cold shower. Whatever you do not do it to yourself. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. And then you like literally just put yourself under that cold water and you just stand there. And in the first few seconds, it feels like you're dying. And
yeah, it
then
does.
I keep telling myself like I am overcoming discomfort. I am conquering discomfort. I am the
Dude,
king of
that's one
discomfort,
thing.
dude.
That's
And
one
it's
thing I'm yet to bring enough courage to do into my life. I cannot do cold showers. I just can't. It's like
I do
I
them
don't, I
like
don't
a
know.
little below lukewarm. I don't do ice cold. Ice cold is too hard. But like
No,
dude, ice cold is where
semi
it's
cold.
at, bro.
Semi
Because
cold is where it's at,
I
dude.
believe
If
it's like
you
you're starting your day by literally telling yourself, I am going to do the most uncomfortable thing that I can think of doing right now. And then you do it to yourself and without hesitation. And then after coming out of that, you feel so empowered and like, you know what? Anything is my bitch if I can do this to myself. And it's a good feeling.
no. I read there's a guy. I can't remember his name now, but they used to call him the kid with the broken brain because he had such a problem developing math and doing simple stuff. And what he ended up doing was he started getting a morning ritual for himself. He'd wake up each morning and start reading and start practicing and getting his brain to be more active and more focused. And one of the big things that he started doing was taking cold showers because this it's that overcoming this obstacle that is in your way immediately the first thing that happens in the morning. So your very first thought in the morning is I can do anything. If I can
Yep.
get under that shower and I can freeze my ass off, I can do anything for the day. And I do think there's a lot of merit to that cold shower.
I don't know. I haven't tried it, but I would like to, and then I'll theory test it because I'm skeptical. I feel like it would make my day like sour and ruined because I started it in such a shock and so cold, and now I'm still cold.
Dude, it makes me laugh afterwards, dude. I
I'm
get
wet.
out of the shower and I'm like, I'm literally exhilarated. I feel like I've had a very big espresso or something.
I also feel exhilarated. It's weird. It gives you so much energy when you get out of it. It's a good way for people who are struggling in the mornings to wake up and stuff. It's a
Yeah,
really
well,
good
it'll
way.
wake you up. I can't deny that.
It's a thermogenic process that your body doesn't want to be cold. And then when you get cold, your cells need to be upregulated to actually produce heat. And then technically, you're not cold to the bone because of your environment, just because of the shower. So you have all of this abundance of energy that's trying to heat you up, but then it gets channeled. I think, at least I think that's what works. Well, that's
Um,
how it works.
there's the other thing as well about the discomfort thing. At a point in our history, we used to be naked. Like we didn't wear clothes. We would be outside in like Europe in those freezing temperatures. Oh no, Chris. Ish.
Goodbye, Luna.
No, he's been having a lot of issues. South Africa's not been doing that great.
Load shedding.
Yeah, we currently have load shedding, so some portions of our
Yeah.
country just doesn't have power at the moment. So he might be in and out. He'll try his best. I'm sorry if it's maybe a little bit of an inconvenience, but yeah, back onto the topic. What?
Discomfort.
Yeah, at some point in our history, we used to sleep outside in the cold. It used to be a thing that we had to deal with every single day, and we used to be so used to overcoming obstacles. Today, it's so easy to fall into this trap of dopamine where all you crave is dopamine, and eventually you need more and more dopamine to feel the same amount of release. Sometimes it takes a bit of the I can't remember what's the molecule called that causes stress.
Cortisol.
Cortisol. Sometimes you need a bit of cortisol to help balance out your day and make the reward of dopamine feel better.
Dude, and it actually makes me think of this thing, and it's something that I'll keep telling people for the rest of my life. Did you know that bald eagles, I think they're bald eagles, they have to literally destroy their beaks when they're at the half of their life cycles. So they literally knock their faces against a piece of stone or a hard object until they break their own beak off of their faces.
That's insane.
And they have to regrow that beak in order to live the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And some eagles decide to just die instead of going through that discomfort. But if they go through that discomfort, they literally live a whole nother life. Dude.
Yeah, it's literally
another lifetime.
Yeah, it's the same amount of time that they've lived up to that point. They'll continue living if they can overcome the obstacle of having to smash their face open.
Would
It's
you do it?
It's fucking
ooh,
hardcore, dude.
ooh. Would I do it? Would I do it?
Yeah,
I
of
I
course,
would.
dude.
I would. I would
I
as well.
would.
I would as well,
Fuck
dude.
my face.
Man,
Get smashed.
oh,
it, no.
Oh, smash it against the fucking table. I need to survive 50 more years. Just knocks your face, dude. You don't...
Dude, smash all your teeth. No, that's the thing. There's never a moment in nature where you don't have to overcome something. Just these days, it's more in, at least in human culture, it's a lot more based off money and mental health than it is a lion eating you. But there's still a lot of discomfort that you have to overcome. Life isn't easy. As much as we'd like it to be, it's not.
Yeah,
mean,
dude. And if it was easy, it would be unexciting, though.
I fully agree.
Also true.
I fully
It's
fully
easier
agree.
in some ways and it's more difficult in other ways.
Yeah, it's the question of, would you rather use your brain for living, or would you use your intellect? Sorry, your intellect or brawn. Sorry, intellect or brawn. Which one would you rather? Because we used to be a brawn-based species. How far can you throw the
brute force
spear?
ourselves through everything.
Yeah, now it's games. Everything in our existence currently is some type of game you have to play. Politics, business, school, varsity, any and everything is a game, and you have to decide how on what difficulty you're gonna play it and how hard you're gonna push to win.
Yep, I agree. And I think we choose the games we want to participate in as well.
Yeah, that's how our society is pretty much structured at the moment.
The I
It's whether or not to participate in that or not.
yeah.
And whether that's how you perceive it or not, it's also solely of your own like perception.
So you mean in the sense of, if it's, I only see the games I want to see and I only play the ones that I think are there, or
Yeah, well, it's sort of you're only playing if you think you're playing, and it's like you can also decide whether you want to participate in that or not if you're aware of it. If you're not aware of it, then you're pretty much just
Yeah.
kind of
Then you're an NPC instead of a player.
yeah,
then you're an NPC. That's pretty accurate.
that is very accurate actually.
It's a harsh truth though. But the thing is that like being an NPC is basically akin to living in your comfort zone in some ways.
Yeah, it is actually.
It is, because it's a mundane, repetitive cycle. Your comfort zone,
Mhm.
always. You'll wake up you'll wake up and say the same things every day. It's kind of like living in the Truman Show. Just you might not even be aware of it either. It legitimately, you could be living the Truman Show and not know it. And I don't
think
mean
like it's, if you want to think about it from a programming standpoint as well, like doing what an NPC type of person would do would be subjectively easier to program if you want to, if this is a simulation, right? Because that would mean that all of these people, and I'm not saying that if you're working a job like a retail, you're an NPC, but if your only dream is to ever work retail, then maybe you are, because you're going to this job, you're doing the monotonous teating of the, or like packing of shelves or whatever it is. It's something that if you were a programmer would be easy to automate in a human being. But then a player would be the people like us that paid top dollar to be here, to actually influence this world and to see how far we can go, how high the score is we can get.
Mm. No, it definitely comes down, and this comes kind of a bit back to the your choice of what games to play and how difficult to make it, because most people, or not most, there are some people that are very happy with that life, that are very happy to live a semi mediocre life where they go to work, they raise a family, and to them that's everything. Their legacy is left behind in their children, and that's awesome. That's a absolute privilege if that is the life you can live. And for some people, it's not enough, and we have to also respect that. That some people are very okay with going to work in packing shelves and
Yeah.
coming home to their beautiful wife and kids and living an awesome life.
Doesn't sound so bad, but of course I know what you mean.
Yeah. So it's man, life is awesome. A lot of people like to complain about it, especially in the time that we're currently living with Rona and Corona, and especially in South Africa, we have a lot of issues with politics, and but that's not everywhere. Even America can't get out of that. I mean, the Capitol storms, man. No,
So
it's
many
a
news.
it's a hectic life at the moment.
Mm,
And
bunch of
yet,
crazy stuff happening.
if you remember the things that you would give to have what you already have, you can't really be that upset, yeah.
Mm.
If you have two eyes to see, the ability to smell, the ability to hear, taste things, touch things, feel things, what would you pay to have that back if you lost any one of those senses?
A heavenly amount, probably.
Mm,
Exactly, dude.
So,
You would not be able to earn as much money in your lifetime as you would be willing to pay to have those back.
mm.
that is very true. I saw this really awesome invention that they've now had where it's a deep brain stimulus. So they basically hook your brain up with electrodes and then they stimulate certain parts of the brain to prohibit Parkinson's. And it's just like
Oh yeah,
it's literally just like a small device. It looks like
I
a
saw that.
diabetes tracker that you can just hook onto your belt, and it keeps you from shaking. It's ridiculous. Those people. The video I saw was a guy for the first time in 7 years could eat cereal again. That's life changing, and it's awesome to see these new inventions come in that can help people who would literally give up their life to have those senses and capabilities back, and
Yep.
it's becoming a reality.
And Neuralink is going to be like if you think this is like a great thing, this is like looking through the peephole. Neuralink is gonna kick down that door.
Neuralink is gonna kick down that door, dude. Neuralink in its current stages, not so much, but Neuralink in 20, 30 years,
No,
absolutely.
dude, like 20, 30 years is way too long, bro. I think in the next 10 years is going to be life changing. I believe in the next 10 years, Neuralink is going to enable completely from the neck down paralyzed people to walk again with their own bodies.
So you mean like direct stimulus into biological flesh, or
Yeah,
like how? I'd love to hear how would they do that?
they're already doing it, bro. That's exactly how the technology works. It is like literal electronic pulses that goes through those little diodes. So you can reconnect the parts of the brain that has been disconnected from the spinal cord, or you can have a device implant on the neck that communicates with your Neuralink and then just uses those same limbs to move yours because
Uh,
your body just needs electronical impulses to tell things to move the way they're supposed to, and they don't need a lot either.
Yeah, I can imagine that like nerve endings don't use like a lot of electricity to do what they need to do.
Those wires are a tenth as thick as your human hair,
Jeez, that's tiny.
and there's
yeah.
1,000 ins, 1,000 outs. Dude. That's a lot of data, and
And
that's just a start.
dude, and the chip size that they currently have, dude, technology, the storage space that we have these days on like tiny chips. You can get a 2 terabyte that can go into your phone.
Yep, it's wild. And this is just a start, bro. We're living in the age where things are happening at a rapid pace, so fast that we're probably gonna get outgen quick. Like in the next 30 years, we're gonna feel like our parents.
gonna be such a strange feeling.
It is gonna be, dude. But the only way to try and keep up with that is to be up with that. You'll have to be on a whole new mind level.
True.
Yeah,
It's gonna be weird living in the days of cyberpunk.
it
and
is
having
gonna be
control
weird
of
living in the days of cyberpunk, dude.
And like we're literally gonna see it. I don't think cybernetic augmentation of the body will catch on as much as it did in Cyberpunk's universe. But I can guarantee you the minds will.
Absolutely, but I think it's a weird fascination that we have with improving ourselves. And it's sad to say, but cybernetics is a pretty non obstacle based way of doing it. Yes, you have to go through the pain of getting it implanted and the dealing with getting used to it, but it's not like you have to spend a couple years training at a gym. You implant a cyber arm that can lift a truck, or that can like help you not lift a truck, maybe like roll over a car, which is almost impossible for most humans to accomplish naturally. And
Yeah, it's gonna be very like lucrative for the people selling it, and it's gonna be very, I think, elusive to a lot of people as well, because like technically the actual technology that goes into it is gonna be a bunch of motors and high quality steels that's probably gonna have to be machined. Like technically you can go into casting and stuff like that, but the actual technology won't be that expensive. Like I'm budgeting maybe like 20K an arm. People will pay 20K an arm, easy peasy.
a
But
dollar
like 20K rands, dude. I'm serious.
rands.
Yeah, dude. Like the servo motors. Like if you're doing motors and stuff, like you can get like if technology progresses at the pace it gets, I'm thinking like in 20 years it's gonna cost like 20K for an arm, dude. You can have your arm replaced.
That's fair. So that's like what, $1,600?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually doable. It's not
Be-
like it's not an easy doable, but it's definitely doable.
the metals, like the only thing why I'm saying it will cost that little is because I'm also assuming that you'll have a Neuralink and stuff like that. Because you'll have to control
Yeah.
that cybernetic arm through some sort of like cybernetic connection to it. And I think the brain hardware is going to be the stuff that you want to get first, either way. Like I'll
Yeah,
probably get my brain all the way zooped up, maybe get myself some eyes, maybe some better ears
dude,
before I touch my body.
dude, eyes. Eyes is a very big one that I have been thinking about. Imagine being able to take pictures with your eyes or zoom with your eyes. It's
Zooming, dude. Yossi.
it's such a big part of our lives. We
Imagine heat vision, dude.
infrared, like
Yeah.
infrared night vision. That new night vision tech that the military developed. There's a it basically turns the day into night. Wow, Johan, the night into
Night into
day.
day. Yeah.
Like you can completely see it. It looks like real, like absolute sunlight, and you could put
And,
that in your eye.
That's
and then
absolutely
imagine also being able to see like heat signatures and stuff like that.
yeah.
So be it if you're driving and stuff like that, you'll never be able to hit someone on the road because you'd literally be able to see them even though they're completely invisible to your human eye.
That now brings up another question. Do we think that having automated cars is a better option than humans driving?
Yep, definitely.
I also fully agree with that. Keelan?
I think it's a better option in terms of transporting yourself around and like to work and to and fro for like a country or an economy.
I think
But
it'll
then
be
I'm thinking
safer.
about yeah, it'll be safer, but I honestly would like really enjoy the feeling of driving a car, you know.
I
So
think it's going to be like a luxury, dude, eventually.
yeah,
Being able to
well,
drive a car yourself.
yeah, that's what I wouldn't mind, you know, if they still all had options or whatever to switch over to manual drive or whatever. And then you could go off the road, you could go on some scenic drive or whatever. I don't know. There's still some perks to driving, although it's very unenvironmentally friendly. I mean, if it's self-driving, it's still going to be that. So, what can must be done.
I definitely think that it's an important thing for us to get most humans off the road. It's one of the leading
Get
causes
off
of
the road.
accidents and death in most countries is car accidents. And yeah, also I recently read a really cool stat about air travel. And did you know that if you were to take every single day of your life, from the day you were born to the day you die, and we assume you die at the age of 75, that you would that statistically you would not die from air travel if you flew every single day up to the day you turn 75. You would statistically not die in a airplane accident. Like it's
It's kinda
something
funny.
it's something stupid like 1 in 160 million people is your odds of dying in an aircraft.
That's pretty good. I mean, there's quite a lot of planes flying.
I I'd love to know the exact stat. I'm actually gonna look that up very quickly. What is the exact stat for how many aircraft, for how many planes fly each day?
There was like a map where you could track each flying plane, but I don't know where. I saw it on Reddit, I think.
There was
pretty damn cool.
there was 176,000 flights every single day in March of 2019, and during COVID of 2020, it was averaged at 145,000 flights each day.
I
So,
mean, that's still a lot.
and now you think about how little you have aircraft accidents. It's
And there's multiple people in one plane as well. That's the thing. There's like at least 20.
Yo, okay, so holy shit. Like, I don't think you guys are ready for this number.
okay.
A total, like, this is the total amount of people that have ever died. Ever died
okay.
from plane crashes. 577.
What?
Are you
Oh,
sure?
Yeah, a total of 577 in-flight deaths were recorded
No.
for a reported average of 72 deaths per year.
In
Deaths
flight.
occur on average rates of 0.31 per million passengers, or 125 per billion passenger kilometers, and 25.1 per million departures.
Yeah.
Only 577 recorded deaths of in-flight, yeah.
When did they start recording the? Is that
Like
average?
you can't fucking count World War II flights.
I don't know.
That's-
Sure you can.
No,
I
of course.
That's not for average people.
Yeah, I guess we use different planes and different technology now, so it wouldn't make sense.
It's crazy. Like so little people have died actually.
Dude,
It's amazing.
the amount of engineering that's gone into aircraft travel, it's a wonder. Nobody needs to be afraid of flying. Yeah, it's weird flying, but it's one of the most incredible experiences I think ever. It's such a thing that we would never naturally be able to experience. And like today, flying back to Pretoria, being able to look at the cloud formations from the top. It's such, you never see cloud formations from the top unless you climb a mountain, and even then you only get small clouds. Here you get to see
Yeah.
everything. You get to see a cumulonimbus that's like a kilometer huge or thick, and it makes me realize how incredibly immense and beautiful this planet is.
Mm-hmm.
But the Earth is flat, you know.
Yeah, there's there's also an ice wall surrounding the edges that people
Yeah,
shoot you
dude,
at
like,
whenever
so
you get close. Yeah.
you don't want to fall off, bro. They're just taking care of you by shooting you.
Gotta protect yourself with the ice rail.
Dude, like it baffles me. And have you seen some of the videos, dude? Out of curiosity, I just went and like a search on YouTube, flat Earth conventions, and there was this guy that documented these conventions. Like you cannot tell them.
Uh,
I wonder if I can think about it.
Wait, Estian, you're like super hectic.
Okay, it's not just me.
Like speaking or something.
Yeah,
You
now
were
it's better.
really-
It sounded like your mic was only picking up every third syllable.
How does this sound?
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, note to self: do not close Discord.
Okay.
But like, not like I can't even have it minimized.
Wow. Are you sure?
Hmm.
Well,
Try minimizing
that's the
first?
only thing that changed.
But that's weird. Surely not.
Man, the hiccups of trying to stream and get everything ready. That's the only issue with streaming, is it's live. So
It do be like that.
it do be like that. It's nice. People see it. Everybody's human. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has issues, problems once in a while. Overcome them.
Makes us more human, dude. We're catering to our target audience. Look at that.
Wow. I hope you don't get abducted like in that Rick and Morty episode and turn into like.
It's like, yeah, these humans are lit. They've been catering to us aliens this whole time. Let's take them with us.
Yeah, something I've also been thinking about recently is I wonder what people thought about ancient philosophers. Like, imagine you're a common peasant living in Greece, and Aristotle or Socrates comes and just has a conversation with you. That must be one of the most mind-blowing experiences of your life.
Could be, but you probably didn't have time for it, so you're probably pretty agitated by this man that's just trying to waste your time by talking to you.
Yeah.
But
He's like, can
I
you
don't know anything
believe
that happened
that
there.
life is so beautiful? And you're like a common peasant that needs to go and shovel shit so you can feed your family. And you're just like,
Wow.
bruh, stop talking. I need to go shovel shit.
Oh, that's so dumb. I love it. Oh man, no.
I don't know.
We're living in a
mean,
cool time.
yeah, I think they were probably regarded pretty well by most folk that they had direct interactions with, except for in some cases where they have like other personal stories, like I don't know, you shat on the high school teacher's bed, so now they hate you or whatever.
Hey,
I don't know.
I would love to know what the gossip was about Aristotle or Socrates. Like, what was the thing that people like hush hush talked about it with them? That everybody has something that they like, or Nietzsche. It just
Yeah,
I
Nietzsche was a dodgy character. Most people were super sus of him.
oh, but he wrote some of the most influential stuff in like in Western
Yeah, he did.
philosophy.
I'm busy reading his book at the moment.
Oh, okay, cool. That I love the segue. Come, explain a bit. I haven't read his book. I'd love to.
I've read like 14 pages of it, but okay. I don't know. It's basically about well, the one that I'm reading now, which is Thus Spake Zarathustra. He writes his ideas and philosophies from the perspective of a Persian prophet called Zarathustra. And it's like very like the writing is quite dense, and it's all like weird because it's basically like from the perspective of a prophet preaching to people, but he's preaching that God is dead,
I
and it's like it's weird. It's interesting though.
yeah, I
How
was
long ago was this book written? Sorry, Johan?
It was written probably in the later stages of his life, which is like I think it's like close to the 1800s, like N 17.
if I remember correctly, I think
No,
it was
close
7.
to the
It,
close to the 1900s, like mid
900.
late 1800s. Yeah,
I think it was late
let me
1800s
look
or
at the
like
actual
middle
book.
1800s. Just gonna make sure about that. But
Mm.
it's something that I think Nietzsche had a problem with was the fact that most people misunderstood what he was saying. Like
1885.
the whole the whole conversation about God being dead. There's a really interesting idea that was in philosophy before he came, and that was the idea that you could discover an ultimate truth to life. It was the idea because before that, let's say before the 1800s and all that, we were still quite heavy into the church's idea of life. So what philosophy throughout like the 13th to 16th centuries was about trying to figure out God, or
Mm.
in other words, the ultimate truth to life.
Mm.
But what ended up happening is as we became more and more sophisticated, we started realizing something that is people to this day don't really realize is that the entire world is based off your perception. They the world doesn't really have this grand ultimate truth to it. Rather, the truth of the world comes from a multitude and millions of different perspectives about the world. And that was what his entire speech about God being dead was. Because this ultimate truth and search for ultimate truth is dying. It's become a point where dealing with your fellow humans and how we interact with each other is almost more important than this grand search to truth.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, possibly. I think that could be true. Uh, I'll let you know when I read further on what
I
he says about it.
I'd love to. I'd need to read the book because I this is all the stuff I'm talking about is what I was learning in philosophy,
Yeah.
and like there's so many interesting things, dude. Like the way epistemology, which talks about how humans can actually gain knowledge, Now I'm really hoping that I'm not butchering this. Like absolutely, I'm gonna say this to the best of my ability. But there's three ways in which humans can gain knowledge about the world. Um, the before what was his name? The really big philosopher and um psychologist as well. He it's
That could be anyone. That could be Nietzsche.
no it's was it Freud? No, it wasn't Freud. It was like in the 1500s. I can't remember his name now.
I
Um,
know not.
but Hume. Yes, Hume. So Hume was the first person that started really digging into epistemology, and he discovered two different ways in which humans can gain knowledge about the world. The first one, which he called a priori, is knowledge about the world that we kind of just have. It's things like a triangle always has three sides. No matter, it's just something we know. Whenever you see a shape and you can see that a triangle has three sides, or that um something else is what would be a good example of it. Coming up with examples is kind of hard. What else would be a just given thing? Or another thing would be is if I were to give you two triangles, the ability to just take it and make a square with it is something that you don't really learn. You kind of just intuitively know. It's weird to explain, but that's a priori. And then he came up with a second one, which was induction or a posteriori, which is our ability to make educated guesses about things that should happen. Such as one of the biggest ones is the sun will rise tomorrow. It's not a guarantee. It's a huge unlikely that it doesn't, but it's still not a guarantee. For some reason, some anomaly could appear and the sun could go supernova at any point. It's never not a possibility. Um, and so he came up with those two as the two ways of gaining knowledge about the world. But there's a bit of an issue with this because if one of the knowledges we kind of just have, and the other one is never a certainty. How is it possible that we can properly gain knowledge about the world? Would our based off these two, knowledge is just guesswork. It's nothing is truly sound in reasoning because 99% of the stuff we do is based off induction, which isn't a certainty either. And so you end up in this loop of you can't ever really know what you know is true. Up until I think it was Nietzsche or Sartre that came up with the idea that there's a third way in which we can gain knowledge. And it's so self explanatory to us now, but for some reason we couldn't put it into words for a very long time. Is we just combine the two. There's and that is so I can't remember what the Latin word for it was, but that's something like our universe exists in space and time. It's not a given fact that we have. It's based off an induction about the space around us, but it's also something that we intuitively know. Um, it's it's so convoluted, and I wish I could explain it better because it's like pages and pages of writing. But anybody that's really interested in philosophy or knowledge about the world, go read up on epistemology. There's so much to go into it, and so many people have worked on trying to figure out how we gain knowledge as humans.
Yeah, it does sound very, very interesting. I will have to watch some YouTube videos on it at some point.
Can I ask you boys an important question?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Have you read the decriminalized and declassified CIA papers on human consciousness?
No.
No. There's what?
So it's basically called, the subject of this CIA paper is analysis and assessment of gateway process.
Can you drop that in the chat so anybody that watches the stream or VOD afterwards can go look it up as well?
I will definitely do that. So
Well,
I'll actually write down when it was released, and I'll release the entire CIA papers. So, Shama.
Going all Edward Snowden.
Okay, there we go.
Yes, God.
So
Releasing the papers, dude.
exposing
So
secrets.
basically, no, dude, aren't exposing
Yeah, I
secrets. These
know.
are legal documents. That's the thing. But what's crazy about this is it basically goes into explaining how our minds have the capacity to click out of this universe. And this is CIA research that they've gone so deep into that they thought this information is now okay to be declassified. And this is absolutely bonkers.
When was it released?
It was released in 2003, dude.
Sure.
See,
Yeah.
So it's not even new info. It's
What?
just crazy.
could you potentially give like a little bit of a rundown as to what it's about?
It's basically about how your brain, your left and right brain, your left brain is this instruction giving, almost dominating, like adult part of you, and your right brain is this creative, childish, playful part of you. And how our like left brain constantly gives our right brain instructions, and by actually breaking through to your left brain and almost dominating it into submission, your left brain and your right brain comes into hemisync, is what they call it in this paper. And when your brain goes into hemisync, it almost has a frequency that goes up. So you know that our brains follow like the sine wave frequency, so
Yeah.
up down up down up down. So what's crazy is that our wavelengths can get so quick and so close to each other that it goes closer to each other than the actual Planck length, which means you click out of
What?
this universe. Yeah, dude, that's what they're talking about in this paper. It's crazy. Like I
What
don't
with
think
wait? What substances like
nothing, dude. That's the
nothing?
thing. Like sometimes death is what they incur in their patients with like ice baths and chemicals to stop your heartbeat and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But it's crazy, dude.
So
Like,
so do you think that
crazy.
could be like I don't want to say scientific, but a kind of answer to the whole meditation thing, and where the people who say they've achieved enlightenment or have managed to achieve is to cause this sync between your right and left brain. Did they talk about
Exactly.
did they talk about which side is dominated by the ego?
I believe your left side actually
It
as
would
well.
it would make sense to me to be the left, because the ego is very much responsible for the grown up part of you. It's also responsible for jealousy, but it's the reason that you aren't childlike anymore.
So can I read the piece about hemisync to you guys?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So, gateway and hemisync. Now that we have briefly profiled the basic mechanics of the principal techniques for altering or expanding consciousness, which share some of the objectives and or methods employed in the gateway experience, we may proceed to focus on what the technique actually involves. Fundamentally, the gateway experience is a training system designed to bring enhanced strength, focus, and coherence to the amplitude and frequency of brainwaves output between the left and right hemispheres, so as to alter consciousness, moving it outside the physical sphere so as to ultimately escape even the restrictions of time and space. The participants then gains access to the various levels of intuitive knowledge which the universe offers. What differentiates the gateway experience from forms of meditation is its use of the hemisync technique, which is defined as the monograph by Monroe Institute trainer Melissa Jagger as a state of consciousness defined when the EEG patterns of both hemispheres are simultaneously equal in amplitude and frequency. Although hemisync seems to be rather rare and of only short duration in ordinary human consciousness, Melissa Jagger states that audio techniques in ordinary human consciousness, like audio techniques developed by Bob Monroe, can induce and sustain hemisync with the Institute's basic development and Focus 3 tapes. She also notes that